Buenos dias. Welcome back. I'm Charisma with Charisma and Cam. Right now we are on El Omnibus. It's my son's wheelchair. It's all strapped in. And that's my son over there who's playing his game. So in Costa Rica, I have learned a lot of lessons. First, I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about where I am. So I came from Bocas del Toro, which you may have seen the video on that. And we crossed over into Panama, the Caribbean area. The first side that you hit is Manzanillo. I think right below that is another little town. But another entry point. But the first actual town that you hit is Manzanillo. Right now we are taking the city bus to Puerta Limon. My understanding is that it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So, I could have gotten a taxi. The taxi probably would have charged me $100 for the day. Whereas getting on the autobus is $500 meal, which that converts to maybe about $8 for me and my son. So $8 versus $100, I can get a taxi when I get there. So I went with the $8 option. One other thing that I do like about the bus here in Costa Rica is that all of the buses are handicap accessible. So they all have a lift for the wheelchair, which entitles me to, not have to break down the wheelchair, push him right onto the bus, lock that up. And, normally when we're just in the city, he stays in his chair, but being that we're going so far, we decided to sit in the actual bus chairs today. The autobus is interesting. I would say if you're at the beginning of the line, that you're pretty good because they start on time, but you don't ever know where they're going to stop. So I have to say, when picking it up in Manzanillo, it's right on time because that's the first stop. But picking it up in Puerto Viejo, it's coming from Limon to Manzanillo. When I did it one time, because that's the only time I could get it accomplished, it was about 30 minutes late. And people seem to expect it to be 30 minutes late, so I'm not a huge fan on taking the bus back. But if I'm at the end of the line, then I'll take the bus. The bus is very inexpensive. It's like 1 or 2 colones, which is very little money compared to anything else here, because 1 or 2 colones will get me to the city center, whereas I pay about 8 to 10 colones in a taxi. The buses they don't come very often, so you gotta look at the schedule and keep that in mind as well. Anyway, so we're continuing on to this journey. This particular journey is me tracing my roots. I'm still tracing. At this point, I am going to the birthplace of my grandmother. For me, this is very important. This is very spiritual part of my journey because it was very difficult to remember for me to get from Panama to Costa Rica. So, now that I'm here, I've experienced an earthquake, torrential rains. I've experienced the flood. I've experienced, I'm going to show my view as we ride past. I've experienced a flood, and then the bridge actually washed out. This is actually the entrance. We're going into Puerto Viejo right here. But then the bridge washed out, so for me to get to Limon. So I just felt like, okay, obviously it's not meant for me to get to Limon, and I really gave up. But the bridge fixed on Thursday. So here I am, Saturdays, headed to Limon. So I'm, going towards my next journey. I will tell you some things that I've learned here. As far as handicap accessibility, this is definitely a bike town. So I'm sure, as you all know, bikes no accessibility. So it's a bike town. They have mopeds. Finding a three-wheeler is near impossible. You can rent a car. However, they have been out of cars since I've been here. You know, maybe you'll get lucky or, you know, reserve your car before you get here. But, you know, you can get cars in Puerto Viejo. You can get cars in Limon. But the best bet is to get the car in San Jose. But if you get the car in San Jose, you do have to drive that 3 to 5 hour drive. We're going to Limon. My son is like, wait, we passed Hot Rocks. It's like his favorite restaurant back there. But if you rent the car, make sure you put your reservation in advance or rent it from San Jose. If you rent it from San Jose, you do have to drive the 3 to 5 hours to the Caribbean side. They say it's not a hard drive, just don't drive at night. So personally, I did cross over from Panama, so I didn't come from the city center of San Jose, but I will be going back to San Jose to leave. So with that being said, I'll be taking the shuttle. The shuttle is not expensive. It's about $50 for adults, about $30 for children under 10. You know, they only have 2 times, either early morning or mid-morning that they pick you up. So, you know, we will be up early, 5:30 to get on our shuttle. Mid-morning is 12:30. And since the bridge is newly fixed, it just takes a little bit of time to get where we need to go. You know, everybody's trying to get off the bridge at the same time. Food is coming in, gasoline is coming in because we were out of all of these things. You know, so that's something we have to consider as well. One of the locals here playing basketball. You know, I don't know if you enjoy it, but I find it pretty enjoyable right here. This is the sign right here across from Volteria. This sign is kind of where I find everything that's going on in the area. You know, it's pretty cool. You can see all the different things that they're having, any yoga, any festivals, anything of that nature that's going on. So I do like to look there, take some pictures of some different things. We've had, you know, we've gone up and down. I've told you about the handicap accessibility. The roads are not, even when you're pushing a wheelchair, they're not the friendliest handicap places. A lot of it is riding on the street in this little town. So I do push the wheelchair on the street quite a bit. However, that tends to be most places. Most places are not handicap accessible. You got to work around the potholes. Hell, they're barely car accessible. So you have to be willing to work around the potholes. The water here is very healing. You know, the different beaches, Punta Uva, Cocles, but my favorite is Playa Negra. The sand in Playa Negra is black. It's called the Black Beach. Lots of healing qualities to Playa Negra. It actually has some magnetic qualities about it as well. So if you ever have the choice or option to come to the Caribbean side of Costa Rica, don't leave without going to Playa Negra. At this point, I feel like it's almost 10 minutes. I thank you for joining me. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask them right there in the comment section. I'm Charisma with Charisma and Cam, traveling with a disability. You say bye, Cam?
Oh, a lollipop.
He wants a lollipop, y'all. All right. Ciao.